hated? Did you like it? You could change it. When I was a kid, I read a lot, and what I would do is I would write down other people's lyrics all the time, all over everything, all the time, just books full of other people's lyrics, songs I was obsessed with. And I would tell my mum that I'd written this song and it was actually somebody else's song. Went to high school and I just didn't really do anything. I just sort of checked out of life for, you know, the next sort of 8 years. And then I went travelling with a friend of mine and I just started journaling and I was just writing. And I just couldn't stop. I just couldn't stop writing. I'd write about everything that happened, everything I felt, everything I saw, and it was like this big release. The same friend taught me the basic chords on the guitar, you know, G, C, D, and showed me how to play Jolene by Dolly Parton. I just really enjoyed it, you know. I'd always wanted to be able to just pick up a guitar and sing a song, you know. And then I came back from that trip and fell into this relationship, which was quite toxic or whatever, and it was, you know, it just wasn't great. And I was like still journaling, but I was doctoring everything I was writing for fear of my partner would find it and, you know, see how I was really feeling. So we were together for about 4.5 years, and when that ended, that's when the songs started pouring out, because suddenly I could freely pick up the guitar without somebody yelling at me or, you know, whatever. I could freely write again. And so it was like the perfect time. You know, I went and moved onto this boat that was a bar, and I lived on this boat for 6 months, and everybody else that worked there was a musician, and so it was just like the perfect birthing of my songwriting experience. It didn't take much for me to look the other way. Never enough to hold my gaze, but there's no shame. There's no shame. They said catch it before it goes. It's not mine. I had to let it go. There's no shame. There's no shame. It never belonged to me. Nothing belongs to me. When I was a kid, I overheard my dad telling my nan that I was tone deaf, and I loved to sing, you know, and I was just like, oh my God. And especially with my dad, I loved it so much. I remember a great moment of, there's a song called Nervous Fella, but it's like this amazing piano, and it's like, he's a nervous fella, like this, and I just remember us like on the radiator pretending it was a piano, like, you know, kicking around to that. We listened in the car to a lot of John Prine, loads of Bob Dylan, Dusty Springfield, Elvis, Johnny Cash, you know. And these are all people that I still listen to a lot of now, you know. They've been like the constant people that I go back to when I'm listening to music. Dancing in the woods, we could find a place to hide, we could find some peace of mind. You could lose yourself for a while. I listen to you talking, just thinking out loud. There's no pressure here, it's just you and I. Over the last sort of 5 years that I've had to start to believe that I can sing, that I have a voice that people really appreciate, you know. But then when I started doing the open mics and people were coming up to me afterwards and just talking about the lyrics and how they connected to them, and I was just like, whoa, this is amazing. I have definitely felt like I'm alone in lots of these feelings, but then as soon as I start sharing them, it's like, oh no, me too, and everything is very universal all of a sudden. So that's lovely, and I love the intimacy of sitting in a room with, 3 or 4 people and just playing like that. That to me is just beautiful. When I'm in a room with people like that, and I finish the song, and there's just that feeling afterwards, and I'm just overwhelmed by that sensation filling the room. It's really a beautiful thing. Playing out in a pub or something is a totally different thing, and I'm really just sort of getting used to that now. The whole thing of like the noise of it all, and people talking and people drinking, especially because I'm a year of no booze at this point, and so it's a strange arena for me to be in, because I've sort of grown up in pubs and everything, and I'm kind of trying to remove myself from that world, but at the same time I want to bring the songs to the people, so it's a bit like this, but it's like you have to just get over the people talking. A friend of mine said, the thing is, Ellie, you can't hear the people that are listening. There's always somebody actually paying attention and you can't hear them. So like, just carry on doing what you're doing and just don't worry about it, be you. Which has been really difficult, it's difficult to bare your soul with a microphone and, to people that may or may not give a shit. Just because I didn't really believe that I could do it or that I was worthy, I just thought, massive imposter syndrome.
Don't you think you've had enough? She'll keep you coming back for more. Her cover close to her chest, till you think she's an open book. And then you think you've seen it all. Take another look.
I've done a lot of work with sort of changing my mindset, but there are so many areas to do that in, and now this is just a whole different thing. So, I just make sure all throughout the day I'm just consciously breathing, I'm just staying present, I'm not thinking about what's going to happen later, I'm just getting about my day, and then by the time I have to get to wherever I'm going, I'm just there, and I'm just like, oh, it's this now, I'm just going to sing my song, and that's that, and that seems to be the thing. Just don't think about it.
Dress to impress, less is more, sometimes less is more. Just something to do with your hands, something for the senses. When every sense is full, everything feels senseless. And he's got one eye on every girl in the room. He's got something to prove. And
so before, when I was drinking, I would just get too drunk to really, they should not have let me up there. Any friend would not let you go and do it in that state, I just didn't know when to stop, it was just, and I didn't care what anybody thought, really, it was just like, I just wanted to express myself, When I first started to try and stop drinking, I sort of latched onto yoga and meditation, and that was like my new thing, and so the transition, because of the nature of those things, it helped a lot with dealing with it. And, so it just gave me the tools to make the shift. I was worried when I stopped drinking I wouldn't be able to write another song, because I was like, well, all my songs are just about times that I've got drunk and done this or whatever. But actually, personally, for me, I feel that the songs have just got so much better, because I've met myself at new levels. And I never really wrote drunk before. I did a lot of writing hungover. I just have much more clarity now, and a greater understanding of how the songs come in and just letting them flow, and I just feel so much more relaxed about it now. When there's a story to tell, there's a story to tell. And that's just it, and that's what the song needs to be. And then other times it feels a bit more just like words on a page that just want to be put together. I have in the past thought too much about that, too much about, oh, what will people think if they hear me say this? But actually, that's really the only stuff worth saying, you know. So I really now I just don't hold back anymore, you know.
Dragging up the past, sometimes it's cathartic today. It's bitter in my mouth, so I'm closing my eyes, peering inside out, just like you taught me. You said love is never equal, someone's always falling short.
Writing the songs have definitely helped me come to terms with so much about myself and the way I feel about things. And as soon as the songs started pouring out, it was just like this journey into, you know, self-knowledge. You know, I just feel like that is just what life should be, you know. And if we can find it through any form of creativity, then that's great. So with Chamomile, I just, like, that song started because I was on a cliff top on an island called Gozo. I had moved there with my ex-boyfriend. He had come back to England for a minute, and I was just on this cliff top. I'd gone for this massive walk, and I was picking chamomile. And I was surrounded by bees just on this cliff top, and it was just, you know, glorious in the sunshine. It was just great. And I just started singing, chamomile on my fingers, I've been hanging with the bees, you know, like this. So I just had this going on, and I was like, this is great. And then it took a few months for that one to really be completed. Maybe even about a year, actually, because it came in sections. So I had those first two lines, and then on the way back to England, I stayed in Sardinia for a little bit. And I remember walking, you know, along the seafront, and I was feeling all loose and whatever, and everybody else just seemed so stiff. And not that I want to make anything about me versus them or anything like that, but, you know, it just felt like I was just alone in this kind of feeling okay about everything when everyone else was not. If I had all the words in front of me, I could tell you all the different places where the words came, you know. When I came back to England, I moved in with my nan, and I was just, I think I'd been for a swim or something, and I was driving back, and I just parked the car on a hill, and that's when the chorus came, you know, sitting on the hill in this car, in this body, watching the sun go down, la la. And I was just like, I wrote those words down, and I went back to my nan's house, and I remembered that song coming into completion, and it was just such a great feeling because I loved it so much. Chamomile on my fingers, I've been hanging with the bees, hanging with the down and outs, down on my knees, finding what it means to be all the things I need to be, finding what it means to be free. Stop telling my story, cause it was getting really boring. Stop feeling sorry for myself as I walk down the road towards a town I don't know. Everyone I see is feeling lost, walking around like robots, automatic pilots, buying what's been sold and lapping up what they've been told. Oh, it's such a shame to see. I think I'll retreat. Another moment left alone. You know, nature is just a huge, you know, running theme throughout the songs. You know, I've always loved being in nature, and I've always, you know, used it as an escape, even, you know, when I was a little kid, and whatever was happening at home was happening at home, and I would just go out and just walk in the rain, whatever, I just get soaked. I just loved the feeling of being battered by the elements, you know. And So that sort of those themes come up in the songs quite a bit. The song "Pint of Your Finest," I mean, that was a great one as well. Again, I just, that came about when I was drinking heavily, obviously, and I was working on this boat and living on it, and it was also a B&B, so people could come and stay in the cabins, and like all these people from London were coming to Norfolk, and I was the only person like living full time on the boat. And it was just amazing because there was no phone signal, no Wi-Fi. It was just like me on this boat at the end of every shift, It was just like, this is a dream. And the people that would come and stay, like I would always end up hanging out with them, and they would be like, "Oh my God, your life is amazing," It's like, they're like, "So what do you do here?" And I'm like, "I mostly just walk and drink. This is all there is to do." I'd experienced some level of freedom before, but after this relationship broke down, it was like a sort of, Shawshank moment of standing in the rain, go from pub to pub every night or, whatever, even at work. I was just drunk all the time I was just drunk. And I just started singing, "I'll have a pint of your finest, please, landlord," da da da. And I was, a friend of mine wanted to record some of my songs, and he was like, "This one," and I was like, "No, those verses are just not, they're not ready." And so it took about another year and a half of sort of fiddling around and just completely scrapping the verses again and again until it was what I wanted it to be. On a lonesome walk along the beach, just a bag of plums and my naked feet. I don't need anybody else. I'm very happy by myself, with a notebook on the table and a beer in my hand. My eyes crawl across the table, there's no one to be found, so I'll have a pint of your finest, please, landlord. Oh, I'll take a bottle of wine. Let's have some shots of your purest tequila. I want to get out of my mind. I just want to just be honest, whatever I'm writing about is just, I just want to just tell, what is true for me. And as well, another great thing that I heard from Leonard Cohen was, not personally, but he said somewhere about just removing unnecessary words. I really have seen a big difference in my writing since I heard that, and that's another reason why I think the songs have improved so much. Maybe I should put the bottle down. So earlier this year, 2022, I was invited to sing at the Queen's Jubilee. Paul was doing the video and we had a chat about the Writers' Room, that's right. I've always thought I would love to work with kids, I mean, there was a time where I wanted to be a kids' TV presenter. So when you started talking to me about it, I was like, yes, this is something I can definitely get involved with. Yeah, I don't know, was it a month or so later or something like that? I joined you guys in the Writers' Room, and it was just, honestly, one of the best nights of my life. On my knees, finding what it means to be, all the things I need to be, finding what it means to be free. I was so thrilled to just experience all of them and you guys putting it together. It's such a beautifully important thing, and I wish I had something like that. It was God, it makes me emotional. Oh, here we are on holiday, making some new memories, happy to be living, happy to be free, happy to be happy on my holiday, happy to be happy on my holiday. And the sun's low. To be young and to be being encouraged to explore your freedom of expression, you know, is just vital to creating great humans, you know.
Is there something that needs to be said? Is there a tingling in the back of your head? A dirty secret or an old regret? Shall I chase you round, trying to show you what I found? I know you have to go, and I let go because I know one day if it's meant to be, you will find your way to me.
If I had a message, it would be to just be honest with yourself, and question what people say to you, you know, because, you know, people are just living from their own experiences, and what is true for them may not be true for you. So just try and learn to listen to yourself above everybody else, because, you know, you are the most important person in your world. And like, it's great, we all need to help each other, but if we don't help ourselves first, then we're no use to anybody else.
All the trimmings, homemade biscuits, dad's toast, painted. Elf on the shelf causing mischief. Elf on the shelf causing fun. Another Christmas song, I hope we don't keep you long. Christmas looks different for everyone.
So I have been concerned. I always hate the question, so what kind of music do you play? Because it's just me and an acoustic guitar, simply because that was the first instrument I was shown how to use. It's just me writing from my heart, and so that just immediately puts you into folky singer-songwriter or whatever, which, you know, I love that, you know, there's no issue there, but I don't want to be constrained to that. There was a time where I was sort of experimenting with some of the songs with a friend of mine. He made like a really amazing like lo-fi beat. I'm just like learning about genres and stuff. I just like what I like. I don't really think about, you know. And so that was just a joy, you know. So I played electric guitar over the top of that. And that was, you know, so I am really excited about just playing around and seeing what feels right, because as he has said to me, this friend of mine, you know, the beauty of these songs is that they are basic, you know, the songs, the chord progressions and the structure, it's basic. So because of that, there's so much you can go from, you know, when it's just the bare bones. Minimal is great, you know. I'd like to have, you know, here's a version of all these songs, just me and a guitar, and here's a version of all these songs with my friend the fiddle player, and, you know, here's some with the saxophone, and here's some with a full band, and, you know, all of this stuff. I'm always open to hearing whatever, you know. I just love the different ways that people express themselves, you know, because you, like, you know, you said you can feel authenticity, and I guess that's what I look for in the music I listen to, and so that's what I hope to portray in mine. Well, I sort of pick things up and put them down again, you know, and it takes me about 4 years to finish anything. But something I was reading was the Tibetan Book of the Dead, which, yeah, I mean, I was very close to some deaths last year that really rocked my world, and so that's been interesting to just have a look at different angles that, you know, other cultures, the way other cultures feel about death, because obviously we just shy away from this only sure thing of life, you know.
And it says, look what you've created, oh, do you like it? You could change it.
I haven't read any fiction for a while, but I did used to read this Japanese author, Murakami. Oh my goodness me, just, I mean, I've probably done about 6 or 7 of his novels, and yeah, I just think he's amazing. I just love the way he sort of intertwines pop culture and the weird and wonderful, you know, different dimensions of reality, and it's just, yeah, I just love it. Just love it.
I've been cleaning out the corners of my mind, emptying containers left alone over time. Blood is on my hands, thick with life and death. Oh, but it's all the same in the end. I can feel someone hot on my heels. I can feel an ever watchful eye. The space in front of me smiles and winks. The world is staring back at me. 'Cause the tea goes cold while I watch the flame. Oh, it's too hot to hold. I'll try all the same. Well, the world holds a mirror and it says, look what you've created. Oh, do you like it? You could change it.
When I first started writing in the journals about 10 years ago, there was lots of just poetry. So I've got just notebooks just full of stuff just sitting there. And then more recently, over the last couple of months, I've been in the car a lot and I haven't been having music on, and I've just been sort of letting stuff come through, and all of a sudden I just feel compelled to hit record on the video, and I just start reciting whatever comes. And so I've been really loving that off the cuff spoken word style of doing things, and I would love to explore that more. There's something about you know, the creative process and not doing things for the end product, you know, because I have got so wrapped up in what's it going to be, and that just takes you out of the process completely, you know. And so, yeah, I've really had to learn to just, you know, let go of the end product, because this is the thing as well, just going back to the writer's room, you know, it's like, and being a kid and exploring your creativity, you know, this is why kids are so much more free than we are, because they're not thinking all the time about the end product. They're just doing it for the sake of doing it, for the whole process, which ends in genius, you know, is basically what it is, you know, that's what we see.
Always enough, never ending change, the ever-changing state. Find out the truth.
You really have to just lean in and trust the process, you know, and it might not go where you think it's going to go, but the whole point is to stop thinking about it and just let it be, you know. Something will just come out and my mind wants to say, oh no, that's rubbish, but then whatever has come out that I think is rubbish actually leads on to something that's great, you know. And so I've been thinking just over the last few weeks, I would love to you know, do a little book of, you know, lyrics and just words and poems, just because there's so much stuff there. It's just sitting there, you know. You know, as the songs grow with me, you know, they just start to mean different things to me, and when I play them, you know, for other people, and I learn more about myself, and sometimes I'll write things and I think, I don't really know what this is, you know, but this is what wants to come through, and then, you know, it takes a couple of years for it to make sense for me. Your face lights up the room, your body floats on through, but your mind seems troubled and I don't know what to do, 'cause you deserve nothing less than perfect happiness. Don't forget about you, remember you're important too. And if I were you, I'd love myself every single day. And I'd realize that the world is blessed by my grace. But you don't, do you? Oh no, you don't, do you? I'd like to tell you everything's alright. It might not be, maybe tonight we could close the door, forget everything outside, and in the morning we'll go dancing through the woods. We could find a place to hide, we could find some peace of mind. You could lose yourself for a while. I'll listen to you talking, just thinking out loud. There's no pressure here, it's just you and I. I could be your safety net, you could be my muse. I wanna hear you spill your guts, I wanna see you let loose. We could find a place to hide, we could find some peace of mind. You could lose yourself for a while, and your face lights up the room. Your body floats on through, but your mind seems troubled, and I don't know what to do.